Hello everyone. This short video is about how to use the course, and it's a small or short introduction into what unboxing is. So to begin with, first, how to use this course, as I've mentioned earlier in the other video, really just listen. Listen with an open mind. Listen while you're sitting at your desk, and the best is to sit up on the edge of your seat, because then your spine is naturally straight. So if you're arching your back like that, that is not straight. But if you relax by sitting at the edge of the seat, then it is straight. And I don't know why, but information seems to travel from the mind, from the brain to the nervous system. You'll understand what we're talking about with every cell of your being. The other hack that I kind of acquired by doing all these courses all these years is that breathe deeply when you're listening, so that you are focused, you're in the now, and you allow yourself to absorb some new ideas that you may initially object to. And I don't mean you in a personal way. I mean, this is how our brains work. They try to preserve us by letting us stick to what we know. So anything new, any new change, any new transformation that happens into our lives, or anything actually, anything new, the brain rejects because it's trying to preserve you. So you may think like, oh, why should this be different than any other course? Well, I hope that it will be. And I hope that it is different because it is almost completely distilling my experience. It's based on my experience, my own journey of self-growth, of looking for answers and becoming a mentor, a guide for the last 29 years. The other thing that I want to say, maybe you want to have a notebook. When I attend a lot of online courses, and I was a bit at loss as to how do I make use of them. So I started by putting all these courses in one file or one notebook. That didn't work. So I have finally arrived at creating or setting, dedicating a new book for each course. And my last course, I've written the name of the course here, and a little thing I like to doodle. And then I know that this is for such and such course. When you're listening to the video, really just listen. Don't even take notes. Anything you want, I can send later, or ask me, or keep a note, later on, once you've listened to this video, keep a note, and then we'll discuss it in the question and answers. But I think the first time, just listen. And then the second time, make your notes while you have your notebook ready. And that way, whatever strikes you is whatever is going to get embedded in your mind at this point. Maybe when you listen to these videos, if you have a chance later on in a month, in a two, when I really pray and hope that we'll go back to normal, you might be ready to accept something else. I found this to be true for myself. When I listen to other sessions that I've had with other people or other courses that I've had, I always miss something because my mind is racing to learn something immediately that I completely, it goes over my head. So I am inspired by a person who's done the same way, who's done a seminar in the same way. And I found myself, it's almost like a personal meeting between me and her, and I don't know her. We just met on Instagram. And the course was absolutely amazing and useful. And I liked this idea of talking. And when I sent a newsletter to all my clients asking how I can help, many of you replied saying, we don't want homework. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. What is this course like? And I said, no, it's just going to be talking, videos, me trying to share the wisdom that I acquired through my own painful journey. Let me scratch that. It's not painful. It is what it needed to be in order for me to get at this point. Now to my second point, which is the purpose of this video, which is the unbox theme. I realized when I was young, at an early age, that the way that I've dealt with things was to box them, shelve them in different compartments of my brain. And then I would take that box out whenever I was ready to deal with it. And then when I started my job in the corporate world, we used to have annual reviews. And then one thing that my boss mentioned was that I compartmentalize things. It's a tongue twister. And I thought, that's interesting. And then I realized that it's not just your mind, your belief system, it's how you think. And I was really interested in finding or getting to know to how I think, because I call this the thinking process, because what you know may be correct, but your thinking process, the mechanism at which you arrive at decisions may not be right. And we'll talk about this in one of the dimensions later on. I just wanted to plant a seed that if you just open up and you take all the information in, your mind will not reject it, will accept it, and with time, it will naturally integrate it in a way that is useful for you. So, unboxing. And recently, I've had really difficult couple of years, the last couple of years. And again, we'll talk about that in the second dimension of change. Emotionally, it was a very tough and difficult time. I've lost my beloved husband and I've lost my beloved mom. And for a long time, they were the focus of my life. They were kind of like the two binary star system, and my life orbited around them. And when I lost them totally unexpectedly, I mean, I never really expect to lose anyone. So it's a shock for my system anyway. I've realized I have to build my life. How do I do it? Where do I start from? And this is a running theme that I've always been, not only rebuilding my life, not only surviving, but really thriving. And I've realized, whatever I'm hiding behind, I need to come out and do it. And this course, doing this course in this way, is part of my unboxing. So the idea of unboxing is to come out, to unbox our limitations so that our real gifts, real talents, real abilities can really show. Because what else are we waiting for? You've got one life and you want to live the best life that you can, in spite of the circumstance, the very limiting and constraining circumstance that we're going through. It started many years ago. I had a very good old friend. Her name was Rana, and we are friends since we were 11 years old. And I always thought that she comes from the same country where I come from. Until about 10 years ago, I've discovered that she doesn't. And then she said something. We were having coffee, and she said something. Well, aren't you proud of who you are? Meaning, my nationality. And I said, not particularly. Because if I'm going to be proud of my nationality, if I'm going to be proud of my background, if I'm going to be proud of, soon enough, I'm going to be so proud that there is no room for me to connect with you or with anyone. So I realized that the strength, the self-empowerment that I felt was because I had been systematically taking down the boundaries, taking down whatever identities that I have simultaneously boxed myself in. You hear this expression, I wear many hats, and then, during the day, I change them. I've read a lot in your assessments. Many of you are mothers, and they find it very difficult to keep swapping hats, entrepreneur, a business person, an employee, and then you're a mother, you're a wife, etc. I don't believe in this swapping hat system. I believe that we should be who we are all the time. The roles we play may be different for a finite period of time, but you always play, it's the same actor. You always play these roles from here. And if it is that way, then that helps you to shift between the several identities that you box yourself under. So this is how the kind of idea of unboxing developed. And also many years ago, I don't know, 7 or 10 years ago, I watched a TEDx movie. And it was about this author who found herself stuck under occupation. And she talked about how she boxed everything in order to cope. And then she said, as she started to open up these boxes to find out who she is, she was also in isolation under the occupation. And she found out her gift, and she's written the first book ever that she's written, which became a bestseller. That stuck in my mind. Many years later, up until recently, I thought, oh my God, so what am I going to do now? So I have to come from whatever box that I've boxed myself in, mostly as a mentor or a coach who worked one-on-one. And I'll make another video so that you meet me and you get to know who I am and what my journey is. But for now, I just wanted to say that this is how I've boxed myself. And it was a big deal for me this year to unbox all of that and to position myself and to see myself and to identify with myself in a very different way, which allowed me to build a lot of connections that I didn't have before. I don't mean connections as in networking. I mean really valuable connections with people, acquaintances that I really want to be part of my life because their presence, their connections really enrich my life. So we go back to the self. How you're panicking, you're worried about the future. How can you create what you want, the future that you want, if you don't know who you are deep down? If you don't know the real you, if you don't know your authentic identity, whatever you want to call it, there is a part of us that is unique, that is who we are, that is with us all the time, regardless of how we define ourselves throughout our life journey. So when you develop that inner connection with yourself, what happens is something really magical. Life stops being chaotic. You have a deeper connection with your inner guidance, and you begin to create from the inside out rather than putting a lot of effort in attracting what you want to you. So when I've lost my loved ones, I didn't know what to do until a friend said, well, you need help. You need a business mentor. And I said, what? I've never thought of asking for help. So I said, fine, and it wasn't really the intelligent thing to do. I thought that was being strong, trying to sort everything out by myself. So I did. I hired this business mentor, and she said, Sahar, how can we distill what you know over the last 29 years? And I'm like, what? How can we do that? So with her help, I've realized that I know so much. I had already started to distill it into a simplified way to help people to do it on their own. I had my own self kind of DIY column of self-development in England for like, I don't know, 8 years or something. And it was called Spiritual DIY, do it yourself. It is something that I felt really strongly about, that you don't need to follow a certain philosophy. You don't need to follow a certain person. You need to develop your own unique self. We each have a unique thumbprint. We have a unique voice, a tone, a pitch, a note, perhaps not a pitch, a note. And in the same way, you have a unique journey to fulfill. So how can you solve, improve, grow your own journey according to somebody else's print or according to somebody else's, method? I've learned a lot from a lot of people, but in the end, I had to integrate it my own way. I had to integrate it in a way that I felt a deep connection with it. And the result was this Unbox program. So working with the business mentor made me realize that I could develop a program. And I came up with this name, Unbox, which starts for understand your strengths and weaknesses, neutralize chaos, because you want to get back to balance very quickly. And balance is something that a lot of you mentioned in your assessment. B stands for build your next platform. So wherever you find yourself now, you can design the next platform before you jump on it. And O stands for overcome obstacles in your way. And X is the X factor, what I call personal resilience. It also stands for where your vulnerability is, Achilles heel. So if you really want to create the future, a brighter future, you need to recognize your weaknesses as well. You need to face them. You need to work with them. You need to shift your mindset. There's a lot of methods and tools that we'll talk about. And then you'd feel really empowered to build, to overcome whatever constraints you may be passing through. And at the moment, it is a very difficult time for all of us. So I hoped that this series of videos you will find very useful. The straightforward answer to how you build a better future, or how do you build a deeper connection with yourself, how do you ignite your own guidance, because I really believe we each have our own guiding stars if we were only to tune into it, is through awareness. You just need to observe yourself in a very loving way. When I listen to a lot of my friends, family, even clients, I listen to the words they use. And whatever goes into the subconscious gets there consciously. Because you are awake when you say, oh, I'm not good at that, or I'm not as good mother as I think I am, or I'm not really doing in my job, or oh, I can't find it. You're programming yourself all the time. You're programming your unconscious, but you're doing it consciously. And this is why I feel that consciousness does not change without the application of consciousness. So in order to change, to transform from the inside out, to build a deeper connection with yourself, with others around you, with your life purpose, in order to realize, in other words, make real your life, you need to have this deep, authentic connection with yourself to unbox, basically, using the 4 dimensions of change. And what happens is that you ignite your own guiding star, and you will feel self-empowered because you are in touch with your guiding star. You don't need to go anywhere. You just listen in. And the more you practice, the more you get good at it. And what happens is when you're hit by a drama, a trauma, an event, a black swan, something that is completely out of your hands, you will find out that you will recover very quickly. So you may wobble, but only a little bit, and you will get back on track. You will become more sensitive. This is not a magic bullet. It's not the answer to all your problems, but it is the means that I would like to share with you. And if a little bit goes in, then I'll be very happy as you begin to integrate it and use it in your lives. It took me a long journey, as I said, to kind of be able to express this in a very simple, logical manner that anyone can start at any point, unboxing themselves, releasing their constraints, developing or connecting with their inner power, connecting with their inner guidance, feeling resilient in order to fulfill their purpose in life. So if you spend a lot of time overreacting to things happening in your life, you're not going to live your life. You'll be suffering, you'll be in pain, you'll spiral down, it will take so long, etc., until you come up again and you resume your life. So the big thing about unboxing is you get back on track quickly, recognize your strengths, deal with your vulnerabilities, and you will be able to guide yourself and to act timely and appropriately in any crisis situation. And the more that you do that, the more resilient that you become. And what happens is you feel joyful, you feel at ease, knowing that although I don't know the future, I can deal with what is happening right now. So the theme here is how to build a better future. One of my very good friends in England, when he went on a trip to the States, he came back and he couldn't wait to give me a present that he got from the States, and I'll show it to you tomorrow. And it was a little thing that you hang, a wall decoration, ceramic wall decoration that you hang, and it said, the best way to predict the future is to make it. And I thought, wow, that's me. And it went in, and I've been applying it since. And this is what I would like to share with you, because it is something that I'm good at, which is simplifying things, putting you in the driver's seat, and showing you little hacks that can create mind shifts, big mind shifts, to get you back on track and not to be afraid of the future. You cannot fear what you cannot control. So it's the same way when you're driving. You don't know what's going to come up in front of you, but if you drive well, you can deal with whatever is coming up for you. So we spoke about how you begin unboxing. So it's awareness, you observe yourself. And this is the reason that I've asked you to do the assessments that you did. Twofold, I wanted you to have a benchmark to see where you are at. And the second point, I wanted to have an idea of where you are, all of you are, as a collective, if you will, because it reflects the times that we are in. So that already gave me a few ideas, and I will address most of these points in the videos, in the upcoming videos. Keep a journal is another life hack. Keep a journal so that you can monitor your own progress. I had an issue that I was worried about for a very long time, and I noticed that I kept writing it in my journal. I'm worried about so-and-so, I'm worried about so-and-so, for 4 years. This is when I did my CTP course, certificate training program. And at the end of the 4 years, we had to write a thesis about our own growth. And I looked at my journal and I started highlighting common themes. And then I looked at these themes, and for 4 years, whatever I was worried about was okay. Nothing happened. And that hit me. And since then, I write things down. I have a notepad here. I have a notepad next to my bed. I have a little notepad in my handbag. Mind you, we're not going anywhere now, but I have a little handbook here in my drawer that I write main points in. So whatever is kind of buzzing here that I can't focus, I can't get on with the day, I literally sit and I write things down. So that is something you can start doing now. Get it out, empty this so that it can receive something new. Otherwise, as Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem at the level at which it was created. So if you're here and your thinking is here and your belief system is here, then you cannot solve any problem because whatever is here got you to this point, meaning I need something new, a different perspective in order to solve the problem that is facing me. So track yourself because your journal will show you, I was worried, for nothing about this thing. It will show you that you were not in charge of your mind. It will show you that worry, and this is something that I'd really like to point out, if you understand how, as human beings, we behave, you will also begin to understand and accept that some problems, issues we all face are not unique to us, but they are inherent to the human condition. So the brain is made to preserve you. The brain is made to reject any changes, however small or big they are, but especially the big ones, because to the brain, it's trying to preserve you. And we will talk about the different parts of the brain. I don't know if you know how many brains we have, but I will address that in the dimension of the mind. And this way, you will keep track on how you are unboxing. So anytime you want to put yourself down, when you read your journal, you realize, oh, I've dealt with that. That is no longer an issue. I have come a long way. So many times we don't know how long we have come, how far we have come, until we are hit by a crisis like now, that we are forced to introspect, to stop. We are forced not to be distracted by the outside world so that we can recognize on an inner level what we're going through. Another hack, because you're all worried, that actually I was inspired with, is to keep like a little box or a little pouch, anything, something like that, nearby. And anytime you get worried about something, write it down. It's really important to write it down, like on a sticky paper or a sticky pad like that. I have a little one that I write just one sentence. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. And put it in that pouch and don't look at it for a week. And what I noticed, review it at the end of the week. And what I've noticed is like maybe when I began, I had 40 things that are crossing my mind that I was constantly, regularly worried about. And then at the end of the week, I would tear whatever issues that were solved. And then whatever remained started getting less and less and less, simply because I was acknowledging it. So it was no longer overwhelming me. All I had to do was show it to my brain. I admit it, I acknowledge it, I'm worried about this. And I let my brain sort it out. The function of your brain is to find solutions. If you get out of the way, maybe your brain will work well and you'll get your solution if you stop looking for answers. So I just want you to kind of think about that and apply it at a time when you're really trying to squeeze an answer out of yourself and you can't find one. Instead of panicking, write whatever that issue down, develop a system to support you, like having a worry box or a piggy bank, worry piggy bank, or like a little pouch. I like pouches anyway. Write whatever the issue is and forget about it, don't look at it. And then in a week's time, review it and you will see for yourself how your worries have come down because automatically, unconsciously, your brain is guiding you towards a solution. The process of unboxing itself happens through what I call or refer to as the 4 dimensions of change. Affectionately, I refer to them as BIMA. So that stands for body, emotions, mind, and accountability to actions. You cannot create anything before you realize what you're doing. So you have to really hold yourself accountable for what you do or what you did not do. Don't blame yourself. Just recognize that there was an opportunity there for me to act and I didn't take it. And what else is possible? How can I solve that? I'm in charge now. And this kind of shifts your mindset immediately. So everything that you can think of, whatever modalities, they would really only fit under these 4 dimensions of change. So we're going to talk about the body, we're going to talk about emotions, we're going to talk about the mind, the belief system, the thinking process, and we're going to talk about how accountability to actions is actually quite empowering. I truly believe that our lives is like a movie. If you don't like the movie, change the script. So I'll be showing you or talking about this, demonstrating by examples through my own life as to how I've arrived at all these concepts or this process, if you will, of unboxing, releasing limitations, getting empowered, and connecting for something that is already within you that can always help you and guide you to fulfill the life that you want. So that the worry, the confusion, the lack of clarity can end, and you can get back to a life that you really enjoy. Okay, that's enough for today. Listen to it again if you want to. If you think of any questions, let me know and get in touch. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.